In a small village called Omozu, surrounded by thick forests and whispering winds, lived a woman named Mama Nkechi. To everyone, she was a quiet, prayerful widow who raised her 3 children alone after her husband died in a car accident. Her children, Nkechi, Ibuka, and Chisem, were intelligent and hardworking, but for some strange reason, nothing good ever lasted in their lives. They would rise and fall again and again. People said it was bad luck. But it wasn't luck. It was something darker. Something hidden. Something bought with blood and souls. The hidden covenant. Many years before, when Mama Nkechi was a young bride struggling with poverty, she was desperate. Her husband had no job, and they could barely feed their children. One day, she met an old woman in the market who offered her a strange solution. "You want success?" the woman asked with pale, empty eyes. "Yes," Mama Nkechi replied. "Then sow the future of your children, and you will harvest wealth." She thought it was just a proverb. But the woman gave her a charm and a pot of black soap. "Bathe them with this before sunrise for 7 days," the old woman said. "And say their names, one by one, with your hand on their head. Then, you shall prosper." She did it. And it worked. Within weeks, her husband got a government job. Money started flowing in. They bought land. Built a house. Her children looked healthy. But something inside them changed. Their eyes lost their spark. Their laughter became forced. As they grew older, they suffered strange dreams, strange pains, and strange delays. But Mama Nkechi ignored it. The agony begins. As the years passed, life for her children became a cycle of disappointment. Nkechi, the first daughter, got scholarships to study abroad but always lost them mysteriously at the last minute. She tried to start a business, but it collapsed in 1 year. Ibuka, strong and talented in football, was selected by scouts, but he broke his leg days before his first trial. Chisem, the last born, was the most gifted, always dreaming of being a doctor, but no university accepted him despite his high scores. They cried. They prayed. They fasted. But it was as if a dark cloud followed them everywhere. They suffered. And Mama Nkechi began to fear. The fear of the unknown. One night, Mama Nkechi had a terrifying dream. She was in a dark forest, surrounded by her 3 children, tired, crying, and calling her name. "Mama, why did you do this to us?" And behind them stood the same old woman from the market, now with no eyes, her mouth bleeding black liquid. "You made the trade. The pot is breaking." Mama Nkechi woke up sweating. That morning, the clay pot she had hidden in her backyard, where she buried the charm years ago, was shattered into pieces by a strange lightning that struck only her compound. Her cat died mysteriously. Her walls cracked overnight. It was time. The revelation and confession. She couldn't bear it anymore. She gathered her children one night and knelt before them, weeping bitterly. "My children, I am sorry. Years ago, I traded your destinies for wealth. I didn't know it would haunt us like this." At first, they didn't believe her. They screamed. They cursed. Ibuka almost hit her. But as she spoke, the pieces fell into place, why everything good in their lives never lasted. They cried with her. For hours. The pain, the betrayal, the fear, it was too much. The road to restoration. They sought help. They traveled far to meet an old prophet in the hills of Nui. The prophet listened, shook his head, and said, "Blood cannot be washed with water. But mercy can speak." He gave them a 7-day deliverance plan. Fasting. Prayers. Midnight vigils. And on the 7th day, they went to the forest where Mama Nkechi first met the strange woman. There, they found a small shrine, abandoned and covered in black cloth. They burned it. As the fire rose, the wind screamed like 1,000 voices. The ground trembled. They held each other in fear. Mama Nkechi fainted. And in that moment, they saw visions of chains breaking, of doors opening, of light coming into their lives. After the storm. It took time, but their lives began to change. Nkechi's old contact reached out again, she got a job and relocated to Canada. Ebuka started training young boys in football and was invited to coach a team in South Africa. Chisom got a scholarship from a private medical school out of nowhere. Mama Nkechi lived the rest of her life quietly, always weeping whenever she saw her children.